Hi, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Baruch Hashem. Uh, okay. Chavches. Ma ben tzadik l'Rasha. Al titma l'chefetz. Do not be astonished um, on the object. Of a specific object is madula basi ol dabet harchulim ali becha. Achrei evel agolo shirelcho ba'avonoseno rabin. So evidently the correspondent is one to whom some Abelus had just recently occurred. Um, how hard is me to write. Hashem Rachem Alai B'Yakribeni Karveni Lavodaso Yizbarach Tel Yischus Lubzako Sarabin. Kilpiro Sia Yacholios to Elis Nizgababo Lam. I think that it could be a great advantage to the world that if I'm brought close to Avodas Hashem, I guess that I can spread it further. Avamaya 7 Osai Harabim Garmalish English says that I don't have this merit. Because then, in other words, to us it seems that the Alter of Kelm was an extremely prolific writer because he has 2 volumes of these writings. But obviously back then people wrote even more voluminously than we do than anything we can imagine today. So he held that his output was not particularly high. Rabim, and many things get in my way. So you like the merit of being able to write even more. Asher Kosafli Mimeno Lava Shalom. I guess this was a female relative who passed away. Mizirusa be Dini Momnus.
Arke Mussar?
No, I think it's Dini Momnus.
Okay.
Yes, we shall see. So Mechtaimo, Kikokach Po Ruach Ad Morazal. Af Alktana Shabas Bito Shalom. This is a granddaughter, obviously, of Rasul Salant, who passed away. I'm not sure how it sounds that she was young when she passed away. Perhaps he's writing to her father. Especially because it seems that she had the sense or the feeling to prepare for her, to be worried and concerned about her end. Evidently, she knew something was coming. Kimasra Pinkas, she gave over the ledger. Before she passed away, Biaram Shoreses to the servant, and obviously to take care of whatever was still outstanding in the ledger. This is amazing. Praiseworthy is a person who's concerned about his end his entire life. The heart of wise people is in the house of mourning. In other words, they realize that that is the place where they eventually will all end up, and therefore they're always concerned how they're going to meet that end. Even when they are in a house quiet and tranquil. This is compelling. It says already it's good to go to the house of mourning than to the house of rejoicing. So what's this additional? Already know that it's better to be in a place which reminds you of the day of death than a day of simcha. But what is this additional thing here that the heart of Chacham is in the house of Abel? So the answer is Aboboy Tarti. You need 2 things. Tov leches ros b'chush. It's best to go there to see with one's own eyes and senses the end of man. Vazitzayir gambiosu shanon. And then he'll be able to depict, even when he's in a tranquil environment, as based on the house of mourning that he saw. And then the death will not be for him for a cause of mourning. Fascinating thing. Because he'll be prepared for it. But rather he will see death as moving his place of residence from a place of darkness and Afel is even more pronounced darkness. I guess like a foggy darkness. Makom tsar, and a narrow place. Had their own place where pleasure is lacking. Come tzach umitzuch tzach, to a place which is radiant and brilliant. Rachava oneg beli tachlis low. It's so expansive a pleasure without any end. Okay, so it's not just you should go there to see what to go to the base able to see what is the end of man, but it should also dictate your leiv chacham that you always prepare for this day appropriately.
Yeah, in other words, it's not only to see it in person, but you have to use your other imagination, your leiv chacham.
Yes.
So you have to be mitzayer.
Yes, when you're not there, you're supposed to take from your experience what to contemplate.
Right.
Vafresh Mabin Sadik Russia. What's the difference between a Sadik and a Russia? Well, I could think of many things, right? But not, he says, Russia, Rak Koachatsiur. A Russia also knows that he's going to die. Russia also knows, Russia says, the Poshi Yisrael Malaim Charotos. They're full of regrets and remorse. They know that there's bad stuff ahead, right? But he doesn't have the Koachatsiur. He doesn't make it alive in the imagery internally. Who will not want to quest a constant good, which is completely good, which is the good of the world to come. But he can't image it. He can't envelop himself in it. It's not that he lacks emunah. He also believes in Olam Haba, Gehenim, Gan Eden, but he doesn't have the. It's not real for him. Yesh no bir hazeh kimo chai. I'm not sure what he means by this, but
yeah, I don't know.
But amen, I think what he means, though it's hard to say, is that has to be alive by you. In other words, can't just be a concept, has to be a live concept. Chazek achi b'koach. Fortify yourself in this imagery. V'tov yelecha sela. It'll be good for you forever. Schorna. Remember, kimoshe be'lava shalom kasher osolios nose ba'olim chave im chayso, when he wanted to share the burden with Am Yisrael. Holach l'tzayer l'chush torasam. He went out to the sea and to be able to depict in vividly, in this case, with his own senses, with his own eyes, the feeling of their anguish. And once he saw it out there, when he went out, it always stood opposite his eyes. These bone benosim chavero, to carefully consider bearing the yoke with his friend. Kinyan hatayra. Not sure how that follows here. Oh, right, okay. You say that Nosabon Chaver is one of the ways in which the Torah is nicknames, right? So it's
right.
This way he acquired this. He was out to acquire Nosabon Chavero, which is one of the kiyanim of Torah, which is essential Moshe Rabbeinu to receive the Torah and to be Moshe Rabbeinu. And at least one of Nosabon Chavero kiyanim Torah. That's why the desire for money is a very grave sin. It's more of an avera than sometimes doing an actual deed. Now we say, I'm not sure, this is the sort of, I don't know if it's applied specifically to this, but we know hirure avera kashim avera.
Right.
And this is something along those lines. Why? Avas hambetza, the love of profit. Wow. It's like a blockage. When you focus too much on a chemda samama, You can't focus on the good of Olam Haba because you have this blockage of Olam Hazeh in your way. Kizeh Chushi, because this is tangible. Olam Haba is more intellectual. Yadua Koki Kadam Shiavoda Madrega Sasecha before. We know before a person comes to the level of an active intellect, which normally is something which is associated with Ruach HaKodesh, and one has capacity to see things vividly in one's mind. There's no comparison between things which one sees, depicts because one senses them, and one depicts in one's mind. Af gam lo kachizas einayim nega befoil. It's not even like the sleight of hand about like an illusion relative to something which takes place in practice. V'afkam lo lo. Oh no, this is what he says. He says afkam lo chazit. Yeah. Aflam gam lo chazit sanai neged before. It's like not even like the something which is an optical illusion versus something which is which actually happens. Because an optical illusion leads to experience the optical illusion. So which is in your seichel, you don't experience even an optical illusion. Afkam lo b'chalom neged rakitz. Because a dream, when you're dreaming, it is vivid. But Sir Asichli is much less vivid. Why? Because if you follow your heart and your eyes, then it's going to damage your capacity to image what you're supposed to image. It's going to create a blockage. If you don't allow for these blockages, then that will be the reason that you'll be able to merit to be able to remember and do what you're supposed to do. Because the looking, focusing on all types of illusory, deceptive pleasures in this world, it's going to confuse the pleasure of the depiction to oneself of the pleasure of Olam Haba. Sharek v'nei or mayhem, and shall remain empty and bereft of them. Yishtakach tamid milibo, and it's always going to be forgotten from his heart. Haser Hashem hanora, the awesome deeds of Hashem, kinorahu, because he is awesome. Udvarim Torah no royim, and the words his words in Torah are awesome. V'dayin atzech hazachar v'ametzuyar, that which you remember, meaning of that which you're conscious, and that which it's easy to depict, will definitely vanquish es hashakuach, that which is forgotten, v'abilti mitzuyar, which is not easy to depict. It's interesting interpretation. You should not focus on. You should be focused away from the desires and perspectives of this world. Habilti muchrach, which is whatever is not essential. In order to be able to fortify your capacity to have a mental depiction. And then you'll be able to recognize the small stature of desires of the world relative to his great desire, for God's awesome deed. It's more good, much more, become much more than the power of a vision when one is awake. Vis-a-vis versus a imaginary dream which is going to be destroyed and lost. So he's saying that in order to be able to have the proper tzira asichli, you have to recognize that you have to recognize, stay away from meditating or daydreaming or focusing in any way, shape, or form on Chemdas Olam Hazeh. Has been detracting capacity, which as is more difficult to focus on Olam Haba. Zainyan shel Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Sheshes, Talmid Shel Rav, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Sheshes, Talmid Shel Rav, Simu es Eineim. It's interesting, very strange shita that Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Sheshes blinded their own eyes. They're both blind. There's an opinion that they blinded their own eyes.
Mhm.
So they shouldn't look beyond their 4 amos. Okay, in other words, it's a radical solution, but they were trying to eliminate their capacity to see things other than that they were supposed to focus on. And you see, I would not go so far as to accept the opinion that Rabbi Yosef Sheshes made themselves blind. This seems to be something which is absolutely also to do up halacha. But by Yitzchak Avinu, we see that. Yitzchak Avinu, we have this Rashi and Chumash says that when Esav came in, he saw Gehenim Psucha Tachta. So Gehenim opened underneath Esav. When Yaakov came in and said, Re'eh, see, Re'ach b'ni Re'ach Chassid Be'er Hashem, the fragrance of my son is like the fragrance of the garden blessed by God. So his lack of external Riyah took away the blockages, which normally might not allow him to focus on the internal Riyah of seeing, the Gehenim under Esav, of seeing the fragrance of Yaakov Avinu. Okay. Mantis v'gomer ashelam she'asim machsom leinav l'bal tienach shios. Praises the person who puts a block on his eye that they shouldn't be free to roam at will into inappropriate things. Yavo man tizkaru will come through this to be able to properly recall what he's supposed to do. So the bottom line is that after getting through the Tanchumim, he says that Tzior, which is a very big Yisod, the Mussar is very important, and Tzior means to not just to depict the thing, but also to distance depictions. We're going to distract the person, be able to depict the purpose, which is Olam Haba, etc.
Wow,
Okay,
that's great.
That's good. Okay, I think the next one's a bit longer, so we'll leave for next week.
Okay, very good.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.